There are new rules that allow you to transfer unused $529 over to your Roth IRA, delaying tax and avoiding tax for decades and decades. However, we are already seeing a list of very common mistakes as people go to try to execute this sophisticated maneuver. What are the mistakes that you need to look out for to take advantage of this new rule? Got that and more coming up. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Roth IRA. I get teased about it all the time. Michael Paul Roth Bernard. That is not my real name, but my goodness, I love the Roth. It's not one size fits all, but my goodness, if you can get as much of your wealth growing right now without Uncle Sam intervening in the future, meaning it's growing tax-free for the rest of your life, or maybe even multiple generations, you have got to capture those strategies. That is an enormous benefit. Well, I've got good news. I'm assuming you're already aware of it. It was the biggest part of the Secure Act 2.0, but now you are allowed to, you are eligible to, it's legal to transfer unused dollars from your 529 plan over to a Roth IRA. Incredible, right? Incredible. Where you've got dollars in the 529 plan that are growing tax sheltered, and if withdrawing for a qualified medical expense, the growth comes out tax-free. Instead, you transfer them to a Roth IRA where now those dollars, maybe when someone was in their 20s or in their teens, right, are now positioned in their Roth IRA where they can continue to grow tax-free for decades and decades and decades. Even, and I know this is like, okay, you're really thinking long-term here, but even to be inherited by those kids, and yes, 10-year rule would apply, but even that would be tax-free. Guys, this could be, decades and decades and decades of tax-free growth. You want my opinion? This is going to be a significant strategy that a lot of people use over the next couple of decades, as people are starting to do so right now. However, they are encountering a few of the most common mistakes. And I want to help you avoid those so that you can plan to take advantage of this creative tax planning strategy and avoid some of these huge pitfalls. The first mistake is missing the 15-year rule. It's a 15-year clock. You're familiar with the Roth IRA. You've got the 5-year rule. You've got a few of those. Well, with this transfer, the 529 to Roth IRA transfer, there's a 15-year rule. And what is that? The 529 plan, in order for it to be eligible to transfer dollars directly into the Roth IRA, the 529 plan needs to be open for 15 years. The 529 plan needs to be open for 15 years. Therefore, if you hear this strategy and say, oh, I've got a child in college, let's quickly do that, I'd like to take advantage of it, it's likely too late, right? You've got to have that 529 plan open early so that it has it can be there, it can be around, it can be open for at least 15 years so that you can consider and use this strategy out there in the future. Rule number 2 is ignoring the 5-year restriction on contributions. What does that mean? Dollars that have been contributed to the 529 plan within the past 5 years, as well as growth on those contributed dollars within the past 5 years, are ineligible to being transferred to the Roth IRA. So let's say you get past rule number 1. You've got that in mistake number 1. You've got that 529 plan and it's been open for at least 15 years. And yet you used a lot of the money for college, and so it's hanging on by a thread. Say your child graduates from college and they've just got, $100 left in their 529 plan. If so, fantastic planning, great job. And then you're aware of this rule and you say, I want to do this. I want to take advantage of this. Let me throw a chunk of money into this 529 plan, and then right away the next year I'm going to start transferring this money over to the Roth IRA. No. The only dollars eligible to be transferred from the 529 to the Roth are dollars that were contributed, as well as the growth, dollars that were contributed more than 5 years ago. So this is not a last-minute strategy. Mistake number 3. And this one's sort of twofold. It speaks to 2 of the rules, is ignoring the annual Roth IRA contribution limits. That's right. If you're familiar with this new rule of being able to transfer money from your 529 plan over to the Roth IRA of the beneficiary, of the child, you might have heard that there's a $35,000 lifetime limit. Great. Okay, that's fine. I would expect that it's not an unlimited amount, so 35,000, that's the number, that's what I'll stick with. Well, a lot of people have in mind, well then great, I'll just do 35,000 all at once. You can't. The only amount that you can contribute or you can transfer from the 529 plan to the Roth IRA is up to the contribution limits for that year. Right now, I'm recording this the very end of 2025. The contribution limit for 2025 to a Roth IRA is $7,000. And yes, there's an additional $1,000 catch up if you're age 50 or older, but it's unlikely that your beneficiary is going to be age 50 or older, but possibly depending on how creative your planning is. Starting in 2026, that annual contribution limit is $7,500. So even though the rules allow you to transfer a maximum of $35,000 over your lifetime from a 529 to Roth, you can't do that all in one shot. You've got to be aware of the annual contribution limits. And then in addition to that, if the beneficiary of the 529 plan, the child, if they're also making contributions to their IRA, that counts against their limit. You're not able to both contribute to a Roth IRA and transfer from the 529 to the Roth IRA at the same time. You're not able to do that. They count towards the same contribution limit. So that's the third mistake. Fourth, and this one is so common, not being aware of the earned income requirement. Many people, when they heard this new rule, they thought, okay, fantastic. I'm gonna hopefully have dollars left over in the 529 plan for my child. And then as soon as they, graduate and they're done with college, I'm gonna start transferring this money from the 529 to their Roth, not realizing that that child needs to have earned income. Essentially, this transfer from the 529 plan to the Roth counts as their contribution, if you will. So the normal contribution rules apply. Just like the last mistake, yep, that annual contribution limit of $7,000 in 2025, $7,500 in 2026, that applies, but the full extent of the definition applies, and that is you can only contribute to a Roth IRA up to however much you earned, so paycheck money, so from an employer, not passive income or interest or dividends or scholarships or that sort of thing, earned income, or that $7,000 or $7,500, whichever is less. So if the year your child graduates, they don't really have a job and they're working part-time and maybe they only make $4,000 or something like that, you can't transfer the full $7,500 from their 529 plan into their Roth. You'd only be limited up to the amount that they earn. So you got to be aware of that. And then mistake number 5 is mismanaging beneficiaries. And this could be an entire video in and of itself. So I already mentioned that the Roth IRA that you transfer the $529 into is got to be the one that is the beneficiary of the 529 plan. So your child, if they're the beneficiary of the 529 plan, that you can transfer that money to their Roth IRA. Well, the IRS has yet to firmly and definitively declare, well, if you change beneficiaries of a 529 plan, does that restart the 15-year clock? I've got a lot of smart people who have said it's going to restart the clock. I've heard some that say, yeah, I don't think so. We're waiting on the IRS to definitively say whether changing the beneficiary of the 529 plan resets the 15-year clock. Right now, I would plan as if it does. So that's one issue. The second is not being aware of this rule and saying, well, I'll just change the beneficiaries whenever I get around to it. And so mismanaging beneficiaries can really, really limit or completely make it prohibitive where you wouldn't ever use this strategy. So that's mistake number 5. As I already mentioned, this new rule has the potential to save thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars in tax over decades of allowing your dollars to grow tax-free. You want to leverage it. You want to avoid these mistakes. Maybe the biggest mistake of those 5 that I did not mention is failing to start early enough, failing to recognize this is a strategy that would make sense for you and not getting a good jump start on it. Work with your certified financial planner on that. Even if you say, yeah, I don't think so, but hey, should we talk about this? Do you think this is a strategy we should implement? And if so, how and what priority, work with your certified financial planner on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with KY20show.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.